Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Ruth the RN and I am so glad you are able to tune in. Today we are talking about the best and worst parts of working in the NICU. Maybe you're considering working in the NICU and you want a little more insight. Maybe you already work there and you just feel like hearing somebody give their opinion. Either way, I'm glad you're here and we'll just get straight into it. So I'm going to start with the not so great parts because I want to end it off on the positives because I feel like they really do outweigh the not so great parts. Because I really love my job. I love what I do. So let's get into it. The truth about working in the NICU is that people are going to think you are a glorified babysitter. And I cannot tell you how annoying that is because you know that is not the truth. Okay, so people think that because you work in a NICU, they think you're with babies all day, and sometimes people don't understand the severity of how ill these newborns really are. So they think you just change diapers and cuddle babies all day, and that's really not the case. It is just like any other nursing unit. It's very intense. It gets very critical. You have a lot of life and death moments. I think because the public is not so educated about the different disease processes and illnesses that can bring a newborn to the NICU, they don't know that you really are working while you're there. You're giving meds, you're doing procedures, you're inserting lines, you're doing this, that, and the third. So that is one downside about working in the NICU. Sometimes I do feel like other nurses who work in other areas look at me and my job that way. They don't take it seriously. They feel like I said, like you're a glorified babysitter, like all you're doing is enjoying babies, which I guess I get, because for the most part when people think of babies, they're thinking happy thoughts, cuddly thoughts, not so much suffering and procedures and surgeries and that kind of thing. So if you think of being a NICU nurse, that's one thing you might end up being wary about. Another not so great part is now I'm noticing socially, a lot of people seem to think I love kids now and I want to babysit and take their kids places, and that is not the case. As much as I love the newborns, as much as I love the babies, I don't want to babysit anybody's kids. I don't want to hang out with children all day. I have no desire to do that, at least not right now. So there's that. Another downside that I really want to emphasize, especially to the new grads who are thinking about working in the NICU, is that patients do die. I really want to emphasize this because a lot of times when I'm speaking to new grads or people who are about to graduate who want to work with newborns or pediatrics, they always say the same thing, which is, I love kids. If you love kids, I need you to rethink whether being in the NICU or a pediatric ICU is where you really want to be. Do you love kids so much that you don't want to see them in pain? Because that's essentially what you will be doing. You'll be watching kids in pain, going through different procedures, going through like really serious things. So you need to figure out that love, whether it's the kind that when you see them suffering and you see them going through these things, it kindles you to kind of intervene and help and makes you want to do your best to help them out, or is that the kind of love that you need to love them when they're well, when they're out the hospital, because the last thing you want to do is, well, I was going to say the last thing you want to do is love kids, but that's not what I mean. I mean, the last thing you want to do is love kids and then go work in the NICU or in a pediatric unit and be devastated because you see the things they're going through. You have kids who are not able to go to school. They won't be doing the things that you expect children to be doing. They won't be going to the park, playing around. They may have shaved heads. Just a lot of stuff. They'll have tubes down their throat, down their nose. A lot going on. So if you're coming out of school, or if maybe you're already in nursing and you're considering a switch, I want you to really, really think about, again, is me wanting to work in a NICU or a pediatric unit because I am so moved to help this population, or just because you love seeing kids? Because if you love seeing kids, you can volunteer. There are volunteer positions in different hospitals where you can be a cuddler for the newborns. You can go around and read for children, and those are things that for people who love children and the younger population, you can do without working to the point of feeling devastated, because of your love for the population. You don't want to see them in that light. In terms of seeing your patient suffering, if you're the type of person who loves children and doesn't want to see them, or would be heartbroken or would be affected by them going through difficulty, I think you should take a second look at whether you really want to be in a NICU or a pediatric unit. So for example, I remember the first death I had in the NICU, and I was so sad. And the thing is, it didn't hit me until way after the fact. During the moment, my mind was in intervention mode. We need to do this, we need to do that, we need to call this person, that person, to make sure that this patient has the best possible outcome. And even after the fact, I was doing the postmortem care. It was just about, okay, I need to clean the orifices, I need to disconnect tubes and cap lines, things like that. It was very I felt mechanical almost, I just wanted to do the right thing for the patient and the family. But afterwards, when the patient's family had left, the patient was sent to the morgue, I just had a moment where everything just kind of crashed down on me, and I just started crying. And I remember my coworkers were just like, get it together, and then some of them were just like, okay, come, let's go to a different room, let's talk. There's different levels. Some people are used to it, some people are not. That was my first time experiencing a newborn pass away, or I guess die. And it's very sad. But are you the type of person who's going to continue and be able to work, or are you going to be, and there's nothing wrong with that, are you going to be so affected that you can't work, that you're going to be a little stuck? In that case, maybe it's not the right population for you to work with. I don't know. Let me know what you think. But some could argue that kind of thing would drive you to be a better nurse. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think. We can go back and forth. I will definitely comment back. So yeah. Now I want to move over to the other side and tell you what I love about working in the NICU. So what I love about working in the NICU is, I feel like more so, I might be biased, but I feel like more so than other units, the NICU works as a team. I feel like, then again, I've only been in 2 hospitals and worked in specific settings, but so far I've had great experiences. I've had teammates, nurses, always come and they back you up and they help you out with whatever it is you're doing. So I like the culture of being in a NICU. Another thing I really love about being in the NICU is the reward benefit. I know that sounds maybe that's a little selfish, but I think some of the best moments I've had were when you've taken care of a newborn for some time, for some weeks, sometimes they're there months, and they go home, and then a couple months later, Christmas time, the mom will send a picture to the unit like, oh look, Christmas time, she's with the family, and you'll just see this child that you were taking care of look so healthy and look so good. And that feeling is amazing. It's so good. It will really leave you satisfied for the rest of your day. It's really nice. Or the parents will sometimes send a picture in and say, oh, this is 1 year. Or they'll bring them in and say, oh, my baby was born here 2 years ago, was in the NICU. You guys did such a great job. When I tell you, it's incredible, because you can kind of see oh, I kind of helped that. I kind of helped make that happen. And you feel very proud of yourself, and it's so rewarding. So for me, that really does outweigh everything. And one more thing I do like about working in the NICU is that I feel like I can give more targeted care. I feel like I can give more time and energy into my patients because it is an ICU, so the ratio is not too heavy. So I feel like I can really just spend time with my patients, getting to know them, getting to, it sounds weird, but babies really do have their own personalities in a different kind of way. So getting to know them and knowing what they like, what they don't like, what side they like to sleep on, I love all that. So that's a perk of working in the NICU. Yeah, so that is some of the good and that's the truth about working in the NICU. This is what it really is like. So I hope you found it kind of informative. I hope it answered some questions you may or may not have had or thought about. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. I hope you come back, and I will see you next month on the last Sunday of the month for our next video.